couldn't do it. But we try to tell our athletes to get for like 4 to 6 warm meals a day. So something before you get to like whatever your first practice is. I know John and Eric too. Your team practice earlier in the morning. So no matter what time they come to, we tell them to get something. Once they leave us, get something else. Something for lunch, something for dinner, and you're gonna have to end up having something in between. So right there, that's already about 4 or 5. Just to get you through the day. Something we want them to sustain their energy levels and make sure that they're not crashing halfway through a practice or they're not falling asleep in class and that we have to hear about it. We want to make sure that they can make it through their day. The pre-workout, and as far as pre-workout meals are concerned, it's different for every athlete. How far ahead of a competition you can eat. Some people say eat 2 or 3 hours before. Some people say I can't eat anything before. We always want we want our athletes to try to figure it out. Whether it's like I said 2 or 3 hours, whether it's 60 to 90 minutes, try to get something in you. If it's 60 to 90 minutes, you want to go with like a lighter snack. If it's a couple hours before, you might be able to get away with a bigger lunch, with keeping all those things in mind that we talked about earlier. All right. For the post game or post workout or what have you, it's about decreasing the rate of protein breakdown and replenishing your glycogen stores. So you always want them to make sure they have a solid source of carbs and a solid source of protein afterwards. Immediately afterwards is the best time to get it. No more than 30 minutes afterwards is what we try to get our athletes to eat. So again, the muscle milks and the protein and the honey stinger bars have been very, very huge in making sure that our athletes get what they need while they're on their way to class.
So the law of diminishing returns. If we give them the same loads say we gave them the same workout on a weekly basis, we didn't change the loads, we didn't change the reps, they're gonna stay right where they are. They could even, for some people, they could actually get worse and not get better. So it's very important for us to see our athletes 2, 3 times a week. We like to have it. So if you have 3 times a week that you're seeing your athlete, that's going to allow them to get stronger. 2 times a week, they actually could get weaker because they're not getting enough stimulation for those muscles in order for them to get better. So the law of diminishing returns suggests that we're not going to get better if we continue to give them the same stimulus and the same types of loads at a consistent rate. So we always have to change it up. We always have to add different variables or change the load and the volume and so forth. Okay? I like to quote, adapt is not to adapt. Okay? So we're always trying to adapt to our environment. So our environment, if it changes, we'll be more likely to adapt to those changes. If we don't change it, we'll adapt to that consistent stimulus and we'll be ready for other stimulus that are provided for us later on in our sport. So I'm going to have everybody get up real quick. Before you start your power training program, we're going to go through how we do our programming.
You make great bagels, and then you're going to have
So a great stationary warm-up before you start your training. Okay, plyometric exercises are really great for right before going into your Olympic lifting. We're going to talk about it here. So we have prisoner squats for 10 reps. So everybody gets down, 10 prisoner squats. Ready? Set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to make you do 10. That's great. Then you got jumping jacks. Ready for 5? Ready? Up. 1, 2. Get our arms going. 3, 4, 5. Good. Then seal jacks. Gets everything moving. Seal jacks are breaking out and coming back in the middle. Ready? Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get back in. Then you have seal jumps. The seal jumps are Highland flings. Highland flings, you have to start with your arms out, crisscross the middle, and break back out. Ready? Alternating your feet. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back down. Then to really get your neuromuscular system going, you got low pogos. So go pogo hops, quick as you can for 5. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to try high pogo, getting up off the ground, really exploding up. So we call it like a jackhammer, going into the ground, bounce up as high as possible for 5. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So this time we breathe a little bit heavier.
We're going to start with a base stance, which is an athletic position. The goal with this is to center your center of mass in a neutral spot, so no matter where you have to go, okay, you will not be biased one way or the other. in a different direction. So you're ready to move three-dimensionally wherever you have to go as soon as you need to. When I teach this, I teach three main components: low hips, erect chest, and positive shin angles. Okay, the first two components of that, the reason being is we want to keep our center of mass low to the ground, low to our base of support, which is our feet. Okay, and then we want an erect chest because we want our center of mass to be directly above our base of support and not leaning us forward or back or to the side, which is going to hurt us if we're not going in that direction. Okay, so if we're leaned over, if we're a tennis player and you see this rounded back here and they're leaned over, okay, and they have to move that way, okay, we're actually kind of falling forward when we're supposed to be going this way. So if we stay centered, okay, we're balanced, and then we have to move in whatever direction, we can attack however we have to. All you have to do once you get into this position is lift the foot closest to the direction that you're moving, okay, and gravity's going to take you the rest of the way, okay, and then that's compounded by a forceful push on the foot that's still grounded into the floor, which is going to help accelerate you through that direction. So now, grab your own space, make sure you kind of stand. Yes, you don't have to be in a circle, you can kind of come forward. All right, so first thing we're going to do is just get into a base stance. We're going to do a base stance hold, just so we kind of get the feel for it. So we're going, feet are wider than our knees are wider than our hips. Okay, we're going to drop those hips down nice and low, keep that chest up, okay, and we're going to keep those shoulders back, okay, we don't want to be rounded forward. Yeah, there you go, right here. Okay, and then the last thing that I talk about with my athletes is credit cards, okay, what I mean is that I want you guys to be slightly up onto your toes, okay, so we don't want to be totally flat-footed, we want that to be able to swipe a credit card below those heels. Okay, so you're going to sit down just a little bit lower, good, good, chest up a little bit more, a little bit wider sheet. Right, so we want a solid base of support, okay, from the bottom. We don't want to be too tight because, here, Morgan, can you come over here? You guys can just kind of chill in that position, or you can stand up and shake it out and say. All right, so if we have a very tight base of support, right, and we feel force from either the outside of our opponent or if we're moving, okay, and it's an internal force, mass, momentum, okay, it's going to be very easy to be pushed over. Okay, but if we have a nice wide base of support, okay, we're low, our center of gravity is low, close to our base of support, and centered over our body. All right, it's much harder to get pushed over. All right, that's good. Thank you.
We're talking about irregular implements in collegiate strength training. I think you guys have noticed over the last year. I think the tires are new this year, the hammers are new this year. We're getting a lot of new tools down there. I really want to give you guys a good idea of how we're utilizing these and how we're taking these tools and implementing them into the programs that not only Ben talked about, but Paul talked about, how we get them into those strength programs where they're safe and they're efficient, and we're working towards a common goal there. And so it's not just something where it's like, oh, I saw Ryan Lochte flip the tires on the Olympics, so I'm going to have my team do that. It should be a process, like Ben talked about, where we're planning everything out, we're making sure they're going to prevent injuries. It's periodized programs, sport specific. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we utilize these. So you can see these are some of the ones we use. Let's get this thing working. We've got the tires. Those are new this year, I believe, right? Great tool. I like to use them a lot with my teams. Same thing with the hammers. We're using those a lot more now. We got the sandbags. That's a cool toy we have down in the gym. We utilize a lot. Infinite movements you can do with that one. It's kind of up to your imagination. Same thing with the sleds. I know Eric and Ryan have seen those getting used with their own team. It's always a good time. Athletes seem to enjoy it, so we use those a lot. And the Dynamax is becoming more common. Seen those a lot more, I think more mainstream, but just getting those core balls like Paul talked about, working power phases and stuff like that. All right, so why use these tools? Why? I mean, you should have a reason for why you're using everything. You should never just pick something because it looks cool. So the way I look at it is it's introducing a new stimulus to the body and to the mind. We use the barbells, we use the dumbbells and things like that, and the bands. We see that every day in the gym. So if we can take some of those movements that we're doing with those and now load it in a different way and kind of change the way the athlete has to handle this new implement, it's going to really tax the body in a new way. It's going to recruit some new muscles, maybe some things they weren't using before. I think they're gonna get a little bit more out of it every now and then. And same thing with the mind, you know, you can get into a 4-week program and they're using the same exercises for those 4 weeks and it can get repetitive, which is good in a sense where they're really getting the movements down and they're building on that strength and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I was in here last Monday doing these same exercises. So it's good every now and then to throw in some new stuff at them, keep them interested, keep them guessing, you know, things like that. Motivation, I think we've all seen it as coaches. When you guys are around for the sleds, you see it. The athletes really kind of rally around these things. Like I said, it's a mental stimulus where they're getting a new thing to play with. They enjoy it. They get really hyped up for it. They get to cheer each other on, things like that. I'll talk about that a little more. How teams kind of come together around these things. We can turn it